Taking comp time? Let's talk about it later. Director Vong didn't even look up. She finished signing the documents and slid them toward me. I stayed where I was, not moving. Only when she finally raised her head and asked why I was still standing there did I speak, forcing my voice to stay calm. I said I had submitted requests for comp time 17 times. 17 times, and not a single one had been approved. She gave a thin smile and said young people needed more tempering. That we could talk about rest after the project launched. After the project launched. When this project started last year, she had said exactly the same thing. I lowered my head and glanced at my phone. The overtime records, working until dawn, were all still there. 3 years, 3,000 hours. I nodded and said okay, then turned to leave, but when I reached the door, I stopped. Director Vong, 3,000 hours, exchanged for not a single day off. I didn't turn around. I remembered that debt very clearly. Working overtime until 2 in the morning had long since stopped being anything unusual. I stared at the lines of code on the screen, my eyes dry and burning. The entire office floor was dark except for me, the only light still on. The city outside had already fallen asleep. My phone suddenly lit up. A ding-talk message from Director Vong. Revise the PPT tomorrow. Replace all the data with the latest version. It was 2 in the morning when she sent it. She was probably already asleep herself. I didn't reply. I kept working on the code. This financial settlement system had been built by me from zero. Front-end, back-end, database, every part done by my own hands. In 3 years, no one else had touched a single line of code. Not because they didn't want to learn, but because they couldn't. The company had more than 50 people. The entire tech department was just me, the only programmer. Everyone else was operations or sales. This system carried the company's entire financial cash flow. If something went wrong, the whole company would freeze. That was why I couldn't leave. At least, that's what they always believed. At 3:30 a.m., I fixed the last bug, shut down the computer, locked the door, and went downstairs. The office building was empty at night. The security guard was dozing at the entrance. When he saw me, he cracked his eyes open. Late again, to you too? Yes. Your company really works people hard. I didn't say anything. I pushed the door open and walked outside. Hard? A monthly salary of 15,000. No raise in 3 years. 3,000 hours of overtime. 0 comp days. Last month I applied for annual leave. Director Vong said just one sentence. The project is busy. Next time. Next time? It was always next time. When I got home, it was almost 4 a.m. I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. Suddenly, a thought surfaced in my mind. What if I left? No one would maintain the system. If financial data broke down, the company would be paralyzed. Would Director Vong panic then? Would that woman, who had never taken me seriously for even 1 second, panic? I turned over and closed my eyes. Whatever, sleep first. The next morning, I arrived at the office at 9 on the dot. Or more accurately, in a state of severe sleep deprivation. The moment I sat down, ding-talk rang. Director Vong asked if the PPT revisions were done. I opened the file and replaced the data. 10 minutes. Sent. 5 minutes later, she said the charts weren't clear enough and asked me to change them. I redid them. Another 5 minutes. She said the colors were too dark. I adjusted the colors. Then she said the font was too small. I changed the font size. Finally, she said the first version looked better after all. Change it back. I took a deep breath and changed it back. I was used to this. 3 years as a programmer. I had edited no fewer than 500 PPTs. Not because I was good at making slides, but because the company didn't have anyone else to do it. Not that there never had been. Everyone who could do it had already quit. The previous admin assistant lasted 3 months before resigning. She said she couldn't stand the overtime. That day, Director Vong stood in her office and scolded people for half an hour. saying young people these days couldn't endure hardship. I stood there listening, not saying a word. Couldn't endure hardship? She got off work at 6 every day. Never worked overtime, never replied to messages on weekends, said she needed to spend time with family. And me? 3 years, not a single complete weekend. Tiu Lee leaned over and lowered his voice. I heard they're giving out year-end bonuses this month. I just made a sound of acknowledgement. He asked how much I thought it would be. I shrugged. I didn't know. Tiu Lee sighed and said he had asked around. Everyone said it wouldn't be much. Last time, Zhang Chengji from the neighboring department ranked first in performance and only got 20.000. 20.000. 1 year of work. Thousands of hours of overtime. Top performance. A year-end bonus of 20.000. This was the company. Tiu Lee looked at me and asked, "So tell me, what are we even doing this for?" I didn't answer. What for? I wanted to know too. At 2 p.m., there was an all-hands meeting. The conference room wasn't big. More than 50 people crammed inside made the air suffocating. Director Vong stood in the center and projected the PPT onto the screen. It was the PPT I had made. This quarter, our financial settlement system has been running steadily, with a 30% increase in efficiency. She spoke clearly, confidently. This is the result of our entire team's hard work. The entire system had been built by me alone. Especially this version upgrade, which solved the data latency issue. Customer feedback has been very positive. That upgrade had cost me 2 consecutive weeks of overtime. The customer feedback emails were written by me too. This project was led by our team. Director Vong looked down at the audience. Of course, at the execution level, Tiu also made contributions. I clenched my fists. After the meeting, Director Vong walked over and patted my shoulder. Good work, Tiu. Keep it up. She smiled and walked away. Tiu Lee leaned over and whispered, "Wasn't that system built entirely by you?" Yes. Then why did the director say it was the whole team's? She's the leader, I said, cutting him off. That's normal. Tiu Lee opened his mouth but didn't say anything else. Normal. At this company, everything was normal. Unpaid overtime was normal. Leave requests being denied was normal. Having your achievements stolen was normal. I looked at Director Vong's retreating figure and remembered the thought from the night before. What if I really left? Maybe I should seriously think about it. 3 days later, the finance department ran into trouble. Tiu, come here for a moment. The finance manager, Kai Chu, stood by my desk, her expression tense. What's wrong? The data doesn't match. She lowered her voice. Accounts receivable from last quarter are missing 120.000. I frowned. Missing? Yes. Can you check if it's a system error? I followed her into the finance office and reviewed the data for over 20 minutes. Then I found the issue. It's not a system error, I said, pointing at the screen. The amount was manually deleted. Manually deleted? Kai Chu froze. Who deleted it? I opened the operation log. The account name was crystal clear. It was Director Vong's account. Kai Chu looked at me. She didn't say anything. Neither did I. Director Vong had used her own account to delete a 120.000 receivable. What did that mean? We both knew. Tiu. Kai Chu took a deep breath. Don't tell anyone about this. I understand. You'll talk to the director. She left. I stayed in the finance office, staring at the operation log. My emotions tangled. 120.000 could have been for accounting purposes. Or it could have been something else. Either way, it had nothing to do with me. But I knew one thing. This company was deeper than I had imagined. That evening, during overtime, Tiu Lee came over again. Tiu, have you heard? Heard what? Director Vong is about to be promoted to vice president. My hands stopped on the keyboard. When? In the next few days. I heard it's because of the financial system project. Senior management is very satisfied. That financial system, the one I built, the one she took credit for. She gets promoted to vice president. What do we get? I asked him. Tiu Lee shook his head. He didn't know. But I heard the starting salary for a VP is 500,000 a year. 500,000. My monthly salary was 15,000. 18,000 a year. She stole my work, tripled her pay. I know, I said, turning back to the screen. Go do your work. Tiu Lee left. I stared at the monitor. My mind empty. 3 years. I had drained 3 years of my youth into this company. Late nights, endless overtime, one problem after another. I once believed that if I worked hard enough, there would be a return. But what was the result? Every single achievement had been taken by someone else. I opened a job listing site and started updating my resume. 3 years of programming experience. Proficient in Java and Python. Independently developed a complete financial system from scratch. I should be able to find a new job. I clicked submit. The next morning, just as I arrived at the office, Lynn from HR came over. TU2, Director Vong wants to see you in her office. I nodded and walked in. Director Vong was sitting behind her desk, smiling. TU2, have a seat. I sat down. What's this about, Director? It's nothing serious, she said, flipping through some documents. I just wanted to ask how your work has been lately. Any difficulties? I froze. She had never asked me this before. It's fine, I said, no difficulties. That's good. She put the documents down and looked at me. TU2, you've been working here for 3 years now, right? Yes, I replied. I've worked very hard these 3 years. She smiled. The company recognizes that. Recognizes it? I didn't say anything. I've discussed this with upper management. She continued. After this quarter, we'll raise your salary by 1 level. A raise? My heart wavered slightly. How much? 500. 500 a month. After 3 years of overtime, stolen credit, denied comp time, this was what I got. 500 a month. So? Director Vong smiled. Satisfied? I took a deep breath, forcing the anger down. Director Vong, I want to request comp time. The smile on her face stiffened. Comp time? Yes, I haven't taken a single day off in 3 years. I want to take a few days. She frowned. Now isn't appropriate. The project is busy. The project was always busy. Wait a few more months. After this quarter is over. You said the same thing last quarter. I replied. Her expression darkened. TU2, what kind of attitude is that? I didn't answer. Young people need to learn how to endure hardship, she said, standing up. Everyone climbs up this way. Look around. Does anyone in this company think about taking leave all day? Other people get paid overtime. Other people get comp time. Other people don't stay up until dawn every day. Only me. I stood up. I understand. She immediately switched back to a smile. Don't be upset. After this phase, I'll treat you to a meal. I didn't respond. I turned and walked out. Back at my desk, Tiu Lee asked, how did it go? A raise of 500. Only 500? His eyes widened. Your system is worth way more than that. And comp time still wasn't approved. Still not approved? Tiu Lee fell silent for a moment. So what are you going to do? I looked at the updated resume on my screen. Refreshed the page. Change companies. 2 weeks later, I received my first interview invitation. It was a large internet company. Much bigger than my current one. The position was head of technical department. The proposed salary was 400,000 a year. More than double my current pay. I took a sick day and went to the interview. The interviewer was the CTO. About 35, wearing black-rimmed glasses, easy to talk to. Let me make sure I understand, he said, flipping through my resume. You independently developed a complete financial system over 3 years? Yes. Walk me through the technical architecture. I explained the front end, back end, database design, logic, APIs. He nodded after listening. Not bad. He looked at me. Any questions for me? Do you have a lot of overtime? He laughed. Honestly, when things are busy, yes, but normally we get off at 6 on time. 2 days off on weekends. Overtime is paid, and comp time is given every month. Comp time. Those 4 words sounded like a different world. As for salary, he continued, we can offer $450,000 a year. Annual leave is 15 days. What do you think? $450,000. 15 days of paid leave. I took a deep breath. That works. Great. HR will complete the process and contact you soon. When the interview ended, I walked out of the building and stood by the roadside, my head slightly dizzy. $450,000, 2.5 times my current salary. 15 days of leave, more than all the days off I had taken in the past 3 years combined. So this was what a normal company looked like. Employees could leave work on time. They could take leave. They could work with dignity. I had stayed at that company for 3 years and almost believed the whole world worked that way. It was time to leave. I returned to the office at 4 in the afternoon. As soon as I walked in, Lynn from HR stopped me. "Tu, Director Vong wants to see you again." I went into the office. Director Vong was sitting there, her face dark. "Tu, where did you go today on your leave?" "To see a doctor." "A doctor?" She gave a cold laugh. "All day?" "Yes." "You think I believe that?" I didn't speak. She stood up and walked toward me. "Let me tell you something. Tu, you'd better behave yourself. The company needs people right now. Don't you dare." "Dare to resign?" I interrupted. She froze. "Director Vong." I looked straight at her. "I've been at this company for 3 years. Over 3,000 hours of overtime. Not a single day of comp time. All my achievements were taken by you for bonuses. All I got was a 500 raise." I smiled. "So what do I have left to be afraid of?" Her face turned pale. "You're threatening me." "I'm not threatening you." I turned and walked out. "I'm just stating facts." "Stop right there," she yelled. "If you dare resign, I'll make sure you can't survive in this industry." I stopped. "Can't survive?" I turned back and looked at her. "Then I'll make sure you can't survive in this company." The door slammed shut behind me. Back at my desk, Tu Lee stared at me in shock. "I get it," he said carefully. "You just argued with Director Vong, didn't you?" "No," I replied. "I just said a few honest words." "And she said she'd ruin you in the industry?" Tu Lee took a deep breath. "So what are you going to do?" I turned on my computer and exported all my attendance records to a USB drive. "I've saved everything that might be useful," I said, "just in case." Tu Lee watched me pack up. "You're leaving, aren't you?" I didn't answer. He sighed. "You should have left a long time ago. There's no future here." That night, when I got home, I received the official offer email from the new company. Clear and formal. Annual salary, $450,000. Start date, 1 month later. I stared at the email, feeling strangely calm. 3 years. I was finally leaving the place that had worn people down. But before I left, there were still a few things to do. I opened my laptop and began collecting evidence. Attendance records from DingTalk, 3 years. 1.095 days. Overtime. 17 comp time requests, none approved. Monthly salary slips, 15.000. Never a single overtime payment. And the labor contract. I flipped to the working hours section. Black and white. Standard working hours. 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, not flexible hours. HR had lied. I compressed all the evidence into a password-protected folder. I would need it later. Not might need it, definitely would. The next day, I went to work as usual. On the surface, nothing changed. I still worked overtime every day. Still revised endless PPTs. Still received messages at 2 in the morning. But my mindset was completely different. Because I knew, only 1 month left. On Tuesday afternoon, a new hire arrived, an intern recruited by Director Vong. Fresh graduate, pale, scholarly looking, a bit naive. This is Tiu Trong. Director Vong brought him to my desk. He'll be learning from you. Learning? I looked at her. She avoided my gaze. She wanted Tiu Trong to take over the system. I nodded. No problem. Over the next few days, I started teaching Tiu Trong. Of course, only the basics. The core of the system, the critical logic, key processes, operational flow. I didn't say a word. Not out of selfishness, but because those things couldn't be learned in a few days. 3 years of accumulation wasn't something an intern could take over. Tiu Trong was diligent. He carried a notebook everywhere, constantly asking questions. Is my understanding correct, sis? He'd ask. One day, he asked, how long did it take you to build this system? 3 years. 3 years? His eyes went wide. All by yourself? Yes. Then if you stop working here, who maintains it? I smiled faintly. Who do you think? He froze, unable to answer. A week later, I received the onboarding notice from the new company. Start date, the 15th of next month. That meant I needed to finish my resignation before the 15th of this month. I calculated it. Exactly 3 weeks left. Time to submit my resignation. But before that, there was one more thing to confirm. I went to the finance department and found Kai Chu. Kai Chu, I want to ask you something. What is it? In the 3 years I worked overtime, was overtime pay ever issued? She froze slightly and checked the system. There's no overtime item in your salary records. Why? HR said you signed a flexible working hours contract. I signed a standard working hours contract. She glanced at me and fell silent. Kai Chu, I want to see the original labor contract on file. You have yours, don't you? I do. I took it out of my bag. But I want to check if the company's copy is the same. She hesitated, then helped me retrieve the archived file. The two contracts were identical. Both clearly stated standard working hours. Her face changed. So HR lied about flexible hours. I put the contract away. The company has been withholding my overtime pay for 3 years. She opened her mouth but couldn't say anything. I stood up. Thank you, Kai Chu. As I walked out of the finance office, I felt unexpectedly calm. 3 years, 3,000 hours. By law, the company owed me at least 150,000. It was time to settle that debt. That night, Director Vong sent another message asking me to revise the PPT for tomorrow's meeting. I looked at the message and didn't reply. In the past, I would have opened my laptop immediately and worked late into the night. Now, I just found it funny. 3 weeks left. That PPT, fix it if she wants. Or not. I turned off my phone and went to sleep. The next morning, Director Vong exploded in rage in her office. So this is why you didn't reply to my message last night. I was asleep. Asleep? Her voice rose. Do you have any idea how important today's meeting is? I already revised the PPT. I handed her the USB drive. Finished half an hour ago. She froze for a moment before taking it. Pay attention next time. Yes. I returned to my desk. Tiu Li leaned over. You're pretty bold. Am I? I smiled faintly. Probably because I'm about to leave. You're really resigning? Yes. Tiu Li fell silent for a moment. Then said quietly, actually, I'm looking for opportunities too. I looked at him and lightly patted his shoulder. Leave early. There's no future here. In the final 3 weeks before resigning, I began preparing everything in an orderly way. Handover documents. Everything that could be written down. I wrote. Of course. The core parts were only described at a high level. Not because I was hiding skills, but because some things truly couldn't be written out. 3 years of experience. 3 years of debugging. 3 years of optimization. All of it lived in my head. To write it all down would require a book. And frankly, I wasn't obligated to. The contract said I had to complete assigned work, not teach everything in my brain to the next person. Friday afternoon, I went to see Director Vong. Director, I'd like to submit my resignation. She was drinking coffee and nearly choked. What did you say? I want to resign. I placed the resignation letter on her desk. My last working day will be the 15th of next month. She set her coffee down and stared at me, her expression shifting rapidly. Tu, what's going on? Did another company make you an offer? You could say that. How much are they paying? Annual salary, 450,000. The corner of her eye twitched. 450,000? She laughed coldly. Do you really think you deserve that? They think I do, I replied. They just don't know you very well. She stood up and moved closer. Let me tell you something. If you dare resign, I won't issue your separation certificate. I looked at her and suddenly felt amused. Director Vong, under labor law, once an employee submits a resignation, the company must complete the process within 30 days. Don't talk law to me. She snapped. Do you know how important that system is? If you leave, who will maintain it? That's the company's problem, I said, not mine. Her face flushed red. I turned and walked out. I understand. Stop right there. I ignored her. Just as I reached the door, she growled, if you dare leave, I'll make you regret it. I stopped. Director Vong, I said without turning back. You once said you'd make sure I couldn't survive in this industry. I'd like to see whether your words really carry that much weight. From that day on, the atmosphere in the company turned strange. The looks my coworkers gave me were a mix of curiosity, pity, and even schadenfreude. Director Vong began spreading rumors everywhere. She has a rotten conscience. The company trained her for 3 years. And she just quits like that, no gratitude at all. 3,000 hours of unpaid overtime counted as training. No single day off counted as training. Having my achievements stolen outright counted as training. Hearing those words, I could only laugh. In the final week before my departure, Director Vong finally panicked. She had Tu Trong take over the system. After 2 days of reading the code, his face was a mess. I don't understand any of this at all, he said. What part don't you understand? All of it. I said nothing. That was exactly the point. 3 years of code, tens of thousands of lines of logic. To replace someone would take at least 6 months, and only with an experienced programmer. Not an intern. Director Vong panicked and came to me again. Tu, guide Tu Trong through the core parts of the system. I've already written the handover documentation. But it's too general. Explain it in more detail. Director, I replied calmly, my last working day is next Friday. By then, I'll hand over everything that needs to be handed over. But right now you're still on the clock. I pointed at my screen. I still have work to do. She clenched her teeth and stormed off. On Thursday night, my final day, I cleared out everything I'd accumulated over 3 years. Only the computer remained on my desk. Tiu Lee came over to see me off. So, you're really leaving? Yes. Let's stay in touch. Of course. He hesitated. Actually, I want to quit too. Then quit. I'm scared. Scared of what? Director Vong. I laughed. What can she really do to you? At worst, she makes things difficult, but if you have real ability, you'll survive anywhere. Tiu Lee fell silent. I patted his shoulder. Hang in there. On Friday, my official last day, I completed all procedures and received my separation certificate. Director Vong didn't come to see me off. She was probably still angry. Lynn from HR handed me the documents. Her expression stiff. I understand you're leaving, she said, but you should think carefully about the consequences. What consequences? Director Vong has many connections in the industry. If you speak badly about the company outside, it could be troublesome. I smiled at her. The trouble would be yours. She froze. I held up the document. It clearly states I resigned voluntarily. But if anyone asks me why I left, I'll tell the truth. Goodbye. I turned and walked out of the company without looking back. 3 years of being bound, finally over. The first Monday after resigning, I slept until I woke up naturally. Morning sunlight filtered through the curtains, warm and gentle. I lay on the bed staring at the ceiling. It felt unreal. No ding-talk messages. No 2 a.m. overtime. No cold sarcasm from Director Vong. I was free. That afternoon, my phone rang, an unfamiliar number. Hello, is this Ms. Tu? Yes. I'm HR from XYZ Company. You submitted your resume last week. We'd like to invite you for an interview. I froze slightly. I had applied to many companies before, but I hadn't expected responses this quickly. Thank you, I said, but I've already accepted an offer. Understood. Wishing you all the best. After hanging up, I felt a surge of emotion. So this was the truth. People with real ability don't fear unemployment. For 3 years, I'd been psychologically manipulated by Director Vong, to the point that I almost believed I couldn't survive if I left. But reality proved otherwise. The outside world had far more opportunities than I imagined. On Wednesday, I received a WeChat message from Tu Lee. Tu, something happened to the company. What happened? The system crashed. I frowned. Crashed? Today was financial settlement day. Errors everywhere. The whole company is paralyzed. What about Tu Trong? He can't handle it. Director Vong is panicking, calling everywhere. I heard she's looking for an outsourcing team. I put my phone down and didn't reply. This outcome, I'd predicted it long ago. That system was built entirely by me. 3 years of work, every bug patched by me. Every logic chain lived in my head. Some bugs only I knew how to fix. Some core designs only I understood why they existed. Tu Trong hadn't even passed the beginner stage. Director Vong thought 1 week was enough for a handover. Naive. That afternoon, my phone rang again. This time, it was the company landline. I hesitated, then picked up. Tu, Director Vong's voice came through. Where are you? At home. There's a system failure. Come back and help. Director, I've already resigned. I know, but can you come back to support us? The system is down. Financial data is in chaos. Payroll is coming up. We're in a mess. Her voice carried panic. I stayed silent. Tu, name your price. The company will hire you as a consultant. Consultant? I laughed. Director, you once said I wouldn't survive in this industry. Do you remember? Silence on the other end. So what reason do you think I have to come back and help you? You still resent me that much? It's not resentment, I said. It's fairness. I sold my life to this company for 3 years. What did I get? No overtime pay, no comp time, all my achievements taken by you. Those things. I've already resigned. I cut her off. The system failure is the company's problem. It has nothing to do with me. You should find someone more capable. I hung up. The phone rang again. I didn't answer. It rang 7 or 8 times before finally stopping. I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling an unfamiliar calm. 3 years of suppression, finally released. That night, Tu Lee messaged again. Tu, did the company find an outsourcing team? Not yet. They said the system is too old. The core logic is a mess. They can't understand it. So what now? Finance is reconciling manually, probably working until midnight. Director Vong has been furious all afternoon. I didn't reply anymore. Not out of schadenfreude, but because I truly didn't care anymore. That was their problem, not mine. I was just an ordinary programmer. Salary, 15,000. Workload of 3 people. I had fulfilled my responsibilities. Written handover docs. Completed everything required. If the company couldn't handle it, that was on them. Right? My first day at the new company would be on the 15th of the next month. Before that, I rewarded myself with 2 weeks of rest. Sleeping until I woke naturally. Reading, watching movies, exercising. Occasionally meeting friends for meals and casual conversations. In 3 years, this was the first time I truly rested. So this was what rest felt like. No need to stare at my phone. No fear of sudden overtime calls. No jolting awake at night, remembering unfinished work. I was finally living like a normal person. 1 week before my start date, I received an email from the Labor Mediation Committee. My complaint, filed long ago, finally had a result. I had filed a formal request demanding compensation from the company for 3 years of unpaid overtime, more than 3,000 hours in total. Under labor law, the company was required to pay me at least 150,000 in overtime wages. But they hadn't paid a single cent, claiming that my position followed a flexible working schedule. The problem was that my labor contract clearly stated standard working hours. That contract was evidence. The Labor Arbitration Committee sent a notice stating that the mediation hearing would take place the following week. I prepared everything in advance, timekeeping records, salary statements, the labor contract, overtime compensation requests. Everything was printed, organized, and neatly filed. Ready for battle. At that moment, Tu Lee texted me again. I heard the company is about to get sued. Yeah, I filed it. Damn, that's bold. He sent a thumbs up emoji. How is the company reacting? Director Vong is furious. She called you ungrateful and threatened to countersue you for defamation. I replied with a laughing emoji. I have evidence. What about the system? Is it fixed yet? No, the outsource team gave up. The company is trying to hire someone to take over. But the salary is too low, no one wants the job. Accounting is reconciling everything manually. I heard they've been working overtime until midnight for 2 straight weeks. I didn't reply anymore. This was karma. For 3 years, I worked late into the night. They treated it as normal. Now it was their turn to work overtime. Let's see how long they could last. On the day of the mediation hearing, I dressed neatly in business attire and arrived at the Labor Arbitration Committee with all my documents. The company sent Lin from HR and a junior legal associate. He looked young, tense, clearly inexperienced. I handed over my documents one by one to the mediator, time records, payroll statements, contract, overtime requests. This is my attendance data for the past 3 years, I said, pointing to the printed summary. An average of 2.5 hours of overtime per day. Over 3,000 hours total. Did the company pay overtime wages? The mediator asked. No, I took out my salary slips. These are my monthly salaries. There is no overtime item. The mediator turned to Lin. How does the company explain this? Lin cleared her throat. Tu signed a flexible working arrangement, so there were no fixed working hours and no overtime. Flexible? I smiled and handed over my contract. This is my labor contract. It clearly states a standard working hour system. I looked at her. Where exactly does this flexible arrangement appear? Lin froze. The legal associate hurried to intervene. Perhaps there were different versions of the contract. I pulled out another photocopy. This is the version kept in the company's records. It is identical to mine. I looked at him calmly. Which other version are you referring to? Silence. The mediator reviewed the documents and nodded solemnly. The evidence is clear. The contract specifies standard working hours. The company is legally obligated to pay overtime. He turned to the company representatives. Do you have anything to add? Neither Lynn nor the legal associate spoke. The ruling was issued. The company was ordered to pay $127,000 in overtime compensation to Taehyung, to be transferred within 1 month. It wasn't the full $150,000 because some time records couldn't be verified. But that was enough for me. This wasn't about money. It was about dignity. As I left the arbitration office, Lynn chased after me. "Aren't you afraid you'll be blacklisted in the industry for doing this?" she asked. I stopped and turned to her. "Lynn, let me ask you something. Do you think I offended the company, or the company offended me?" She froze. 3 years, 3,000 hours of overtime. Not a single dollar paid. 17 overtime leave requests. Every single one rejected. My contributions were stolen. My effort was trampled. I smiled faintly. "I'm just taking back what belongs to me. Is that wrong?" She had no answer. "Goodbye, Lynn." I turned and walked away. On my first day at the new company, the weather was bright and sunny. I sat at my new desk and looked out the window at the sky. My heart felt light, lighter than it had in years. No whispers behind my back. No sarcasm. No credit stealing. This was what a normal workplace looked like. During the first week, I immediately felt the difference. The first difference was quitting time. Here, it was 6 p.m., and it actually meant 6 p.m. Not, start packing at 6. Not, wait until the boss leaves. At 6 sharp, fingerprints clocked, bags picked up, people left, no explanations needed. The second difference was overtime policy. Overtime required prior approval. If approved, it paid 1.5x salary. And compensatory leave was automatically granted the next day. Comp time. Real comp time. The first time I applied, I was nervous. I expected rejection, pushback, sarcasm. The approval came in 3 seconds. "Remember, you still have 2 unused leave days this month. Make sure you take them." I froze. I can really take time off? Of course, leave is your right. At that moment, I almost cried. So this was what a normal company felt like. A month later, Taehyung Lee texted me. "I quit too." "Really? Where did you go?" "A startup. Salary went up by 3.000. "Congrats." "Thank you. You gave me the courage to leave." "What about the old company?" "Don't even mention it. The system still isn't fixed. Accounting is losing their minds. Director Vong got chewed out by upper management several times. Her mood's awful lately." "Serves her right." "Yeah, serves her right." I put my phone down and went back to work. The old company no longer mattered to me. 3 months later, I received a bank notification. $127,000 had been deposited. I stared at the number, feeling something hard to describe. This money was the price of 3 years of my youth. Late nights until 2 a.m. 17 denied leave requests. Effort stolen without mercy. If time could rewind, I'd rather give up this money and leave that place sooner. But there are no ifs in life. All I could do was treat myself better from now on. That same day, Taehyung Lee texted again. "Big news. Director Vong got demoted." "Why?" "The system. The project was delayed 3 months. The client filed complaints. Top management held her accountable. She was in charge, cut loose." "Oh. That's it? You're not happy?" I thought for a moment. There's nothing to be happy about. Whether she falls or not doesn't matter to me anymore. Fair. He sent a sigh emoji. "Oh, one more thing. She's trying to hire someone to take over the system. Salary's up to $30,000 a month. Still no one's willing. I heard she's asking around about you. Wants to invite you back as a consultant." I laughed. $30,000 a month. When I was there, I earned $15,000. Begged for a 500 raise like I was asking for charity. Now she was offering $30,000 to bring me back. Too late. A week later, I got a call, unknown number, but the prefix was from my old company. I answered. Hello? To Hugh, it's me. Director Vong. Her voice was tired, no arrogance left. The system issue, you've heard about it, right? Yes. I want to ask for your help. Her tone softened. The system is seriously broken. We've tried many people, no one can fix it. You understand it best. I really need you. I already have a new job. I know, but you could consult, just weekends. We'll pay. How much? 2,000 a day. I laughed. 4 days a month, 8,000 total. Less than a week's salary at my new job. I'm busy, I don't have time. You hold grudges. No, I said calmly, I call it fairness. I gave 3 years and got nothing in return. I found a better place. Why would I look back? Goodbye, Director Vong. I hung up. This time, it was a real farewell. Time flew. By year's end, at the company's annual party, I was awarded Best New Employee, with a 20,000 bonus. Standing on stage, I thought of myself a year ago, still grinding at 2 a.m., fixing PPTs. Wondering when I'd escape. 1 year later, not only had I escaped, I was thriving. Turns out, life really can start over. After the party, people went to karaoke. I walked home alone. My phone buzzed. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. How are things for you? Pretty good. Busy, but no unpaid overtime. Leave gets approved. That's enough. Oh, one more thing. The old company's system is finally fixed. Who fixed it? A new hire. Took him 3 months just to understand the code. I laughed. When I resigned, Director Vong said Tiu Trong could learn it in a week. Don't remind me, Tiu Trong quit long ago. Said he couldn't take it. How's the old company now? Lost a lot. Projects delayed. Clients left. Upper management replaced most of leadership. Director Vong stayed, but got demoted from VP to department head. Salary cut in half. She's been losing her temper a lot. I didn't say anything. Honestly, I didn't hate her anymore. She was just another worker, someone who made ugly choices for personal gain. And that was no longer my problem. People like that exist everywhere. What I needed to do was stay far away from them, and live a life worthy of myself. A week later, I received a strange message on WeChat. A friend request from someone I didn't know, with a note. Hi, I'm a former colleague from the company. I'd like to ask you something. I hesitated for a moment, then accepted. Hello, who are you? I'm Tiu Chu from the finance department. Do you remember me? Tiu Chu. I thought for a moment. I vaguely remembered her, a quiet girl I'd met a few times. I remember. What's up? It's like this. I saw what you did with the labor arbitration before. I thought it was really brave. What happened after that? I wanted to ask, can overtime pay really be claimed through labor arbitration? You're owed overtime too? Yeah, finance has been working overtime every day for months. Not a single cent paid. I asked our. They said it's a flexible work system again. That word again. Does your contract say standard working hours or flexible? I just checked. It seems like standard. Then hold on to your evidence. Time records, payroll, contract, file for labor arbitration. You can really do that? I'm a little scared. Scared of what? Retaliation. How would they retaliate? Refuse to issue a resignation certificate? That's illegal. Talk bad about you in the industry? Let them talk. The one in the wrong is them, not you. Tiu Chu was quiet for a while. I'll think about it, thank you, too. Hang in there, if you need anything, ask me. I put my phone down, feeling a bit emotional. So even after I left, the company hadn't changed at all. Still exploiting employees. Still cutting overtime pay. Still hiding behind flexible work to dodge responsibility. At least more people were starting to wake up. That was a good thing. A year later, in summer, I bought a new car. Just a mid-range Japanese sedan, around 150,000. Not luxurious, but practical. On the day I picked it up, I drove alone around the city. The wind poured in through the windows. Sunlight rested warmly on my shoulders. I thought about myself a year ago. Living in a rented room. Crowded subway rides every day. Overtime until 2 a.m. Exhausted, hollowed out. 1 year later, I had my own car. 300,000 in savings. A stable job. Double the income. Leaving that place had truly changed my life. Just as I parked, my phone buzzed. A voice message from Tiu Lee. 2. Shocking news. I played it. I just heard, Director Vong is about to resign. Resign? I typed back. Why? Apparently she's been isolated. She offended too many people before. No one under her respects her anymore. Upper management doesn't like her either, keeps pressuring her. She couldn't take it and submitted her resignation. That's it? Just, oh. You're not happy? I thought for a moment. There's nothing to be happy or unhappy about. Her life has nothing to do with mine anymore. That makes sense. He sent an emoji, then asked. Do you remember Tiu Chu from finance? Yeah. She already went to labor arbitration. Really? She recovered over 80,000 in overtime pay. Impressive. And a few others are preparing documents too. The company's in chaos now. I laughed. That's cause and effect. Exploit people long enough, and you pay for it eventually. That night, I went out for hot pot with friends. Halfway through the meal, my phone buzzed again. A message from an unfamiliar account. To Hugh, this is Director Vong. I was surprised she had my WeChat. What is it? I want to meet you. Just to talk. I didn't reply. A moment later, another message. I know you hate me. But there are things I want to explain. Hate? I didn't hate her. I just felt pity. A woman in her 40s who clawed her way up by stealing credit. Cutting overtime pay, manipulating subordinates. And in the end? Abandoned by superiors. Despised by colleagues. Quietly exiting in defeat. What had she really gained in her life? I didn't reply. Some people aren't worth more time. After hot pot, when I got home, I received another message. From an old acquaintance. I heard Director Vong ran into trouble. What happened? She joined a new company not long ago. But her old company reported her. Said she was involved in financial irregularities when she was still there. She's under investigation now. Financial issues. I immediately thought of the 120,000 debt she had deliberately erased years ago. So people had noticed long ago. Not sure how it'll end. Still under investigation. Sounds serious. I put my phone down and didn't ask more. That was her business. Not mine. I was just an ordinary employee, working honestly. Earning fair pay, living peacefully. As for those who exploited me, let them pay their own price. 3 more months passed. Autumn arrived. The air turned cool. This year, my life was peaceful. Work was smooth. I'd just been promoted to a small team lead. Monthly salary, 35,000. Not executive level money at big corporations. But enough for me. More importantly, off work at 6 p.m. sharp. Full weekends. 15 days of annual leave. Take it whenever I wanted. That was the life an ordinary person should have. One afternoon, while I was debugging code, my phone rang. An unfamiliar number, but the prefix was from my old company. I hesitated, then answered. Hello? Is this to you? A young, unfamiliar voice. Yes, who is this? I'm Lou, head of IT at your former company. So they changed department heads again? Well, the company's financial payment system is malfunctioning. We've checked for a long time and can't find the cause. We heard you developed the system and wanted to ask if you could help. I was silent for a few seconds. Wasn't that system already fixed? That was just a temporary fix. Recently it broke again. The system is old, and the logic is very complex. I know, I interrupted calmly, but I'm no longer with the company. This has nothing to do with me. We're willing to pay, he said quickly. 5.000 a day. What do you think? 5.000 a day. More than double the 2.000 Director Vong once offered. No, I said. I'm busy. 2. Could you reconsider? This system is really critical. If it can't be fixed, it will seriously affect company operations. Company operations. 3 years ago, I worked until 2 a.m. every day for those operations. And now? Whether the company lived or died had nothing to do with me. Lou, I said calmly, I'll say it one more time. I did write the system. But I've been gone for over a year. I handed over complete documentation. If the company can't handle it, that's the company's problem. But. There's no but. Goodbye. I hung up decisively. That night, I vented about it in my group chat with friends. Ha 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 ha, one friend said. Turning down 5.000 a day? You're savage. It's not about money, I replied. It's about principles. What principles? I gave them 3 years. How did they treat me? No overtime pay, no comp time, credit stolen. Now the system breaks and they remember me? Why didn't they remember earlier? So true. And if you help now, another friend said, they'll just keep pushing further. Let them deal with it themselves. Exactly. I put my phone down, feeling light. 3 years ago, I didn't dare refuse any request. Overtime? Do it. Slides? Fix them. Scolding? Endure it. 3 years later, I'd learned how to say no. That was my greatest growth. Another year passed. Winter sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows. I sat in my private office, sipping coffee, watching the city below. Yes, a private office. I'd been promoted to Deputy Technical Director. My own office. Monthly salary, 42.000. Year-end bonus separate. This year, I even bought my own apartment. Not big, but mine. Standing by the window, I thought about myself 4 years ago. Fresh graduate. Joined the old company believing hard work guaranteed success. Instead, I was exploited for 3 years and almost lost myself. Thankfully, I woke up in time. Thankfully, I dared to leave. Thankfully, I met a company willing to give me a chance. Life is like that. Some detours are unavoidable. Only after walking them do you understand what truly matters. In the afternoon, my phone buzzed. A message from Tu Lee. 2. Have you heard? The old company went bankrupt. I froze. Bankrupt? Yeah, they officially declared it last month. Massive debt. The top boss ran away. What about the employees? Those who could got compensation. The rest are filing lawsuits. I sighed. And Director Vong? She left long ago, supposedly managing a small company now. No idea how it's going. Oh, remember Tu Trong? The intern who took over the system. Yeah. He jumped jobs too, now a dev at another company. Doing pretty well. That's good, I said honestly. Everyone left that pit. And everyone lived better afterward. I smiled. Yes. Only by leaving that pit could you truly start over. That night, I received another WeChat message. From an old colleague, someone once familiar. Now distant. Long time no see, how have you been? I'm doing well. Same here, I just joined a new company. That's good. You were the first to leave back then. We thought you were impulsive. Looking back now, you were the smartest. I didn't reply. Smart? I didn't think so. I was just done enduring. Later that night, I went for hot pot again with friends. Halfway through, my phone buzzed. A message from Tiu Li. I heard Director Vong is looking for you again. I glanced at it, didn't open it, and went back to talking with my friends. The hot pot bubbled loudly. Friends laughed and chatted. Outside the window, the city glowed with lights and traffic. I picked up a slice of beef and ate it. Delicious. Let the past stay in the past. 3 years of being worked like an animal bought me one lesson. Never treat a company like family. Treat yourself as the priority. That lesson cost me 3 years of youth. And now, I leave work on time every day. Spend weekends with friends. Own a home. Own a car. Have savings. I'm finally living the life I wanted. My phone buzzed again. Still Tiu Li. I heard Director Vong is living pretty miserably now. I turned off the screen and raised my glass. Cheers. Glasses clinked with a clear sound. Outside, snow began to fall. The new year was coming. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to China Story Tales, and stay tuned for more stories.